Hello and welcome to the Remedy Fibers podcast, a podcast about knitting and crochet hosted by me, Jillian. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're a returner, thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Today I have some updates on my love note work in progress, which is so amazing. I thought I would be finished by now, but we'll talk about that later, as well as a new concept inspired by YoungFolkKnits called Frog It or Fix It. I'll take you through a few projects that I'm not quite happy with and whether I decide to fix it or frog it. So if you're interested, stay tuned. But if you're new here, I live in Northern California with my husband and dog Benny. I love everything yarn related and I hope you stay for my yarn journey. So first, let's get started. We'll talk about my work in progress, the Love Note by Tincanknits. So I thought I would be finished by today. However, one thing that I'm realizing about my knitting journey is, I've mentioned this time and time again, but I get really impatient to cast off. I just want to wear the thing. And this is the first time knitting a garment where I'm actually taking my time, ripping back, doing it again, ripping back, doing it again. Because I'm not following the sleeves for the pattern, I want it to be full-length sleeves. I kind of knit them a little bit too short on both sides. So I had to rip back, and the first time I ripped back on one of the sleeves, it was perfectly fine to take out with the fingering weight mixed with the mohair. But one of them was really hard to take out, so I put it in the freezer and that really did help. So now both of the sleeves are done. I just have to weave in those ends. And then the body part, I finished the body a long time ago, but the reason why I have not cast off was because it was at that point where it was like a little cropped, or if I wanted it with more length, like a regular traditional sweater that hits like the bottom of my jeans. And I already told you I'm not a fan of the cropped length, and I didn't know if I was going to have enough yarn. So that's why I started with the sleeves, fixed the sleeves, I'm done with the sleeves, and now I can work back to elongate the body. So let me show it to you how it's looking. So you can see the body is a little bit on the cropped side. It does hit right below my stomach, but I want it to go maybe 2 to 4 inches past that so that it kind of goes lower from my jean area. But I love it. It's so pretty. The only thing that I always kick myself when using hand-dyed yarn is that I used one full skein of mohair on the body, and I told you it was giving like this green tinge, this greenish yellow tinge, and then I started on a new mohair ball and that does not exist. It's really, you can really see the gray with the colors. So it's a very subtle difference. You can't really notice it, but it's one of those things where I really need to practice using 2 balls of yarn at the same time and alternating skeins. I have not done that, and sometimes I'm able to get away with it. Other times I'm kicking myself because I see a very stark difference. And here it's very, very subtle. You probably can't even notice it on camera, but I notice it. I'm also not going to try it on again today because I also just did my hair, and this neckline is a little bit tight. I would recommend, if you do plan on doing the Love Note, to do a stretchy bind off, because I just did a regular bind off as the pattern instructed, and it does fit over my head, but with some, I got put down a little bit. So recently I've been more active on Instagram. If you've been following me for a while, sometimes I take a very long break. Sometimes I get too absorbed in the app. So now I'm using it, but with moderation. And I recently discovered a new YouTuber. I haven't actually watched her YouTube. I actually just found her Instagram, but I found out she was a podcaster as well. So Nicole from Professor Purl is actually hosting a Love Note knit along. So based off the Instagram post, this is the 3rd year hosting a Love Note knit along, and it's hosted from October 1st to December 1st. So I will be able to enter into that knit along. I didn't even know I was knitting along with all these Love Note lovers. I was just knitting it because it was cute. I don't know if there's any giveaway prizes, but sometimes it's just fun to knit along with everyone else who's creating the same sweater. So based off recording this, we are at November 14th, so you still have about a little bit less than a month if you wanted to cast on a Love Note sweater. It is very fast. It is a fast knit because a lot of it is stockinette once you move past the lace portion. I haven't yet explored her YouTube channel, but just quickly browsing it over, she does have a video of the different variations of knitting the Love Note, something that can inspire you later on if this is something you want to cast on. So we just finished up a 3-day weekend, a very long, relaxing weekend, and I was catching up on all the YouTubers, all of the podcasts, and I was watching YoungFolkKnits, and I was so inspired. She has a new segment called Frog It or Finish It, and I want to do something similar because I do have some finished objects that I'm unable to actually wear practically in a day-to-day life because it doesn't fit me right, and I have different reasons that I'll go into in a little bit. But I have this bag right here of all the items that I want to either frog it or fix it. I have more, but I'm just going to start with 4 projects just so that I can concentrate on them. When I see a lot of projects that I want to fix or frog, I get a little bit overwhelmed. One, because I feel a little bit guilty that I put so much time and so much hours into the project only to not be able to wear it, or the yarn is very nice and fancy and I feel bad trying to make it into something else. So it's a big time commitment that it's hard to frog it and it's hard to fix it. So that's the journey that I want to start, and hopefully you'll join me with your projects as well. And just a little disclaimer, anything that I decide to frog or fix is nothing on the fault of the designer. It's things that I have done. Either I've modified things, either I have quickly cast off, which I always do, either I use different types of yarn. So no shade to the designer or the pattern, it's things that I have done on my own. So starting with the framework Bralette by Jessie Maed, I originally created this August of 2022, and I used 100% superwash merino wool, and in hindsight that probably wasn't a good idea. And the reason why is because I sweat uncontrollably when I wear it. It can be freezing outside, but something about the wool on me, I just sweat, and it's a very uncomfortable feeling. Second, when you go to the ribbing part, you have to go down a needle size, and it's supposed to like cinch it in a little bit. I forgot to do that, and so when I would wear it, it would continue to ride up, and that was so uncomfortable, so unflattering. 1, I never wore it in public. 2, I would wear it like lounging around in the house with like a shirt over it, and I just couldn't. It just wasn't comfortable for me. So I would recommend, if you do decide to knit this, to use a cotton, a summer fiber, something that you're not going to sweat uncontrollably, and also follow the pattern. So I have decided to frog it. I skipped that part. You don't gotta see me ripping it apart. And this has been used, I want to say 3 times. It was originally used for my Tecumseh sweater. We're not gonna talk about that. It was used for another top that I wasn't able to wear. I ran out of yarn and I had to like do a dual tone color, and I didn't like that, so I ripped it out. Then I made the framework bralette, ripped it out. So 4th time's a charm. We'll see what this turns out. I'm thinking I could just hold it in stash because it is DK merino. This is from Chelsea Yarns. I got this back when I was living in New Jersey, and it's very beautiful. It's in the peony colorway. I don't know if that's still a colorway, but I'm thinking maybe it can be for color work, which is what I originally bought it for. Maybe it can be for a hat, a gift. So it would just sit in stash for now, but I am a little bit satisfied knowing that it's going to be something that I can use or at least give to someone, rather than just kind of sit in the closet unable to use. So next on the chopping block is the My Boy Lollipop by Ricci. This is the 3rd time that I have made this pattern, and I got a little bit too comfortable. I did not follow the pattern, and I thought, you know, I knit it 3 times. I could just, you know, modify it a little bit here, a little bit there. Well, I started the ribbing too early. So normally you knit in stockinette all the way to a certain point, and then you start the ribbing so the bottom can kind of cinch you in. The picture is very cute, but it's just something that I couldn't practically wear. It was not comfortable. It was a little bit unflattering every time it kind of rode up, and the ribbing will kind of be on this part of my chest. So I decided to fix it. So I have since ripped out the ribbing part. I was able to put everything back on needles. So this is how it's looking right now. The ribbing is completely out. So what I plan to do is continue in stockinette, put the actual needles that it's supposed to be, because I just grabbed random needles that I had lying around for the live stitches, knit in stockinette, and then that's to the part where I'm not sure if I want to knit to pattern and then do the ribbing where it's supposed to be, or just keep knitting in stockinette so it can be more of a t-shirt fit for the summertime. When I saw the picture, my finished object picture, I felt guilty of ripping it out, but I said I didn't tear it out completely. I still have yarn, and it's something that I can work on to wear rather than like wear it, not feel comfortable, and then not wear it again. So I plan to fix this hopefully by next episode, but this is going to be a project that I hope to finish soon. So next on the chopping block is the My Little Secret crop top by Jessie Maed. I'm sorry, Jessie Maed. I didn't use yarn that was appropriate. The yarn that I used was very thick, very chunky, and even though the finished photo is really cute, it wasn't practical. It was very heavy to wear when I would sweat, because this is a summer fiber. It would bunch up after lots of wear, and it just wasn't flattering on me over time, and I wasn't able to wear it on a day-to-day basis. So I have decided to frog it. I felt really bad frogging it because my finished object photo was so cute, but this will just sit, and I don't know what it is about this fiber. One, it was really hard to rip apart. Two, it's very like a sticky yarn. I don't really know how to explain it. It's loops and thread, cream and cotton, but it doesn't really feel like cotton. So I don't know what's the practical use for this, but I don't think that I want to make a garment out of this based off how it felt. It just felt very clunky, very chunky, like the yarn fabric just didn't feel good. So I'm really sad that it's gone, but like I said with this yarn, this can just kind of sit and stash until I find a project, gift it away, make a gift with it. But for now, we're not gonna talk about it. We're just gonna move on. But overall, the pattern was great. It was fun to make, very fast. I would just recommend, if you use this pattern, to use a summer fiber, but more so on the fingering side, because when the DK, it just felt too chunky to wear on an everyday basis. Also, I would modify the bra straps so that you can actually wear a bra with it. The I-cord straps are very thin, that if you do wear a bra, it will be peeking out, and that's something that I don't find flattering. So if I was to knit this again, I would modify for a thicker strap, or maybe just not do an I-cord and do a regular strap, just so that I'm able to wear it comfortably out and about. So the next sweater on the chopping block, you have heard time and time again, and the time has come where I decide whether I'm going to frog it or fix it. So this is my year-round popover by Melissa Georges, and sadly she does not have any live patterns anymore. This pattern isn't available. She's closed down her Etsy and her Ravelry pattern shop, so sadly this pattern is not for purchase. But I have used hand spun to knit this sweater, and I have told you things that I love about it, things I don't love about it, and for the most part I'm 10 out of 10, 100% happy with this sweater. I love the pattern, I love the style. The only thing is, I'm learning more and more about myself. I'm not here for the crop look. Like, that's just not a style that I'm here for. So I am going to fix it. I love it too much to frog it. This is my first hand spun sweater. So look at how little that body is. That's too little. So I'm going to rip out the ribbing, elongate the body, and then I'm kind of stuck on the sleeves. So these sleeves are meant to kind of be like this flare out, loose, drapey kind of sleeve. But I want it to be a practical knit, and sometimes this is not thick enough to wear by itself. I need to put something over, like another layer, because I'm a really cold person. So I want to be able to put another sweater on top, and when I do that, these sleeves are not conducive to that. So I'm thinking, do I start the sleeves and kind of just make them more form-fitting and elongate them to my wrist? Do I keep them as is, because that is the style of the pattern and what the designer intended? So I'm not sure if that's something that I want to fix, but definitely the body. Definitely the body's going to be longer, and I don't have any issues with the neckline. I don't have any other issues, but this body, too little. Way too little. And I have yarn that I'm going to elongate the body. So I guess I'm going to elongate the body first, see what I'm working with, and then maybe leave the sleeves as is, because it's very intimidating to have live stitches, rip it apart, feel like you're making a mistake. it's just a lot. It's intimidating. So these are all that I have for Frog Yard Fix It for today, but there are about 3 to 4 other projects that I'm not quite happy with that are going on the chopping block once I fix these 2 projects. So if this is something that you would like to see in the future, definitely let me know down below. And also if you have any recommendations as to how I should modify this sweater just so that it can be more practical, I would love to hear your advice for me. But as for life update, I've been knitting away. We just celebrated Bright's birthday. It was so fun, so relaxing. We did a little bit of shopping, ate really good food, and then I do have a trip coming up in about a month to go visit my family, which I'm so excited for. I can't believe that we are already halfway through November. Time is going by so fast, especially this month. This is my favorite month, but it just goes by way too fast. So something that I'm excited for is next week I'll be visiting an alpaca farm, and I'll be taking you along with me. We'll get a tour of the farm, see the cutie babies, and hopefully purchase some alpaca yarn. I know I don't got no business buying yarn, but you know, I can't help myself. So I'm excited for that. I want to look for some patterns that incorporate alpaca yarn. So if you have some good ones, drop them down below. I would like to see what I should cast on next. Don't look back there. I still got yarn I gotta cast on, but I'm working on it slowly. One thing about me when it comes to casting on new projects is I want to kind of absorb the beauty of the yarn, because the yarn means so much to me. It's new, it's so special. It's a little bit hard for me to use it and cast on. I kind of have like a intimidation factor, and then I get over it once I start winding it up and I get excited to knit the pattern. But for now, it's just kind of over there, admiring it. It's gorgeous, it's pretty. Every time people ask me about it, I gush about it. So definitely have a new cast on in the works, but I'm taking my time with doing so. But that's all that I have for this week. I hope that you're enjoying today's content. I hope that you and your family are happy, healthy, and safe, and talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.